Well, hello, sports entertainment victims. Oh, there's my co-host. I just went live without you. I was just gonna wait till you got here. We're live.
I was trying to actually be completely finished. I have like 4 minutes. I'm finally caught up.
Chris is here with me. Nate is here with you. And I just said, hello, sports entertainment victims. Welcome to That's Not Wrestling on the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook group, YouTube, and Facebook page. How's it going out there tonight, everybody? How's it going for you, brother? Yeah.
I just spent the entire day going through over a month of Raw. How do you think I feel?
Oh my goodness, I'm surprised you're still awake. Yeah. Well, one thing I want to say, yeah, you need that. You need it definitely. There is, we'll get. I don't know. I'm just jumping around here, but the first thing I wanted to say is before, because you saying Raw made me think of my McIntyre thought, but I'll get back to that. Before that, last week we spent most of the episode talking about the scandals going on in pro wrestling, the Speak Out movement, and I have to say, having listened to Jim Cornette this week, I believe Jim Cornette. I don't know that there's anybody in the world that has ever addressed something like that, and I've been like, you know what? He's not full of shit. Like, there was no full of shit in that entire thing. It's like pretty much like, yeah, this is our life. This is our lifestyle. We're not ashamed of it. So, I don't know. I think that out of all of them, I believe Jim.
Well, that's why I brought up last week. I find it very hard that he would be guilty of something. Like I said, I'm not going to say he's innocent until anything's proven. But given his track record, the dude doesn't have a goddamn filter.
No. No. What's up, Bobby Anders? How you doing, brother?
13 years ago, between 13 years and now, he would have said something stupid by now.
Yeah. Something would have come out. Yes, definitely. He doesn't, like I said, listening to that, I didn't feel like that guy was hiding anything. I didn't feel like that guy was trying to cover anything up.
But yeah. Did I not tell you he went ape shit about them blowing up other people's Twitter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was pissed about that.
Like, I thought he was like a little aggravated, rightfully so, building up to it. Mm-hmm. But then as soon as that can of worms did get opened, it got like straight field goal.
Annihilated, yes. It got blown up all over the place, especially once he got into Bobby Fulton. Mm-hmm. And I love you're going to attack a housewife who hasn't been in the wrestling business for 15 years. It's like, man, he is just...
And then you're going to attack a 60-year-old cancer patient for being a friend.
Yeah. You bunch of douchebags. So there you go. I stand with Cornette. And I don't know if you saw or not, but I bought his $100 lost Mid-Atlantic tapes.
Is that how much that was?
Yes.
I was looking at all the photos because you couldn't see how many discs there were. And then as I'm going through all the photos of the list, I'm like, oh my God. What's it?
Essentially,
when does it end?
Essentially, it was just a bunch of 16 millimeter stuff they had on the curb that was going to go in the trash when Turner bought WCW. So that could have been lost to the dumpster. I've started going through one disc, and it's cool. There's no commentary because it was just a one camera house show stuff, but very cool. And I'm looking forward to getting to the Steamboat Flair stuff because I've always heard that their early 80s stuff was actually better than their series in 89. So looking forward to that. Anything else on the scandals before we get into the TV from this week?
Well, so far we've gotten more people. Elgin's been fired.
Mm-hmm.
Krista's been fired. Blanchard's been fired. Laguero's been fired. Banks has been fired. It just keeps racking up, and
maybe Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, he's on his last leg apparently. And the thing that has me curious though, that I've been wondering, maybe you can help, or listeners, due to Vince and his borderline non-compliance because COVID is apparently the equivalent of a sneeze that shows weakness. And he's gotten this insurgence of all because I don't know if you've seen who all's gotten tested positive now.
Yeah.
your primary interviewer has tested positive. So now how many people has gotten it from doing, because they've been having massive, from the weeks I've been watching, massive interview segments backstage.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce has tested positive. Renee Young has tested positive, which in turn, now John is in quarantine, and Fighter Fest was supposed to be next week.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is there a possibility that due to Vince being borderline negligent and forcing this shit and all this and all that has caused another company to be hindered due to Vince's actions? Does Tony Khan possibly have like some kind of possible lawsuit?
Well, I don't think so. And here's why I say, because I was actually going to mention this during the reviews. Both companies this week seem completely tone deaf to COVID. The Lumberjack match on AEW, Cassidy and Jericho fighting out into the crowd on AEW, into a crowd of people. WWE's obviously tone deaf to it. My thing is, does WWE...
Vince is still hell-bent on having fans next month. Mm-hmm. Like starting to let people back in next month.
And the problem with that is the virus is now ravaging worse than it did when it started. Yeah. And we're about to probably go back into another lockdown.
I mean, it's going to be another WrestleMania moment to where, because you and I, anybody knows, Vince is going to push it until Florida steps in and says, no.
Mm-hmm. So
think about it. He was still going to have WrestleMania. It took Florida stepping in and going,
no.
Negative, Ghost Raider.
The thing that I wonder is not just Vince, but have Vince and AEW both open themselves up to legal action? In that, I'm just going to use my company. I'm not going to mention it on the air, obviously, but I'm going to use the company I work for as an example. Okay, our company. I work in retail. Our company makes us social distance. Our company has all kinds of cleaning things in place. Our company makes me wear a mask all day, and my view on that isn't necessarily that they care about me. It's that if I were to get COVID, from going to work and I tried to sue them, they could say, nope, because we have taken all these measures to help Nate not get COVID. So there's no basis for a lawsuit. Now, AEW and WWE are not doing that. So are they opening themselves up to legal action from employees?
Well, the other thing is, though, I don't know what is all involved in their daily testings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But they do like the daily testings. But the thing, I guess what I'm looking at is if Khan and AEW were secure in their testings and nobody there, and now Vince in just his whatever. Because, I mean, I will also give the credit due between the two. Like, Khan has, from out of the gate, if you don't feel comfortable, stay home, you're not going to be punished.
Right.
Vince, obviously not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So that also leans to, I work for Vince McMahon, I have to take my ass to work, and now look what's happened. And in that process, you contaminated and jeopardized the world championship match for another company that doesn't even pertain to you. That's why I'm like, are they going to have a leg to stand on if they want to be assholes?
Right. And that's possible. One thing that I disagreed with Cornette on his show, on not the accusation show, but the show following this week, was they were discussing the events, and now that they're letting friends and family come, and they're probably going to try to let fans come back in, and he mentioned, well, if somebody goes to one of these shows and they get the virus, they could sue WWE. And to me, that's not true, because they're voluntarily going to the show as a fan. What he's referring to is the fans. If the fans go to the show, they contract it, yes, Vince is liable for that. I don't think that's true, because you're voluntarily going to the show. That's like, you know what I mean?
Don't know, because
that's like saying if you get injured in a mosh pit, you can sue the arena. You really can't, because you put yourself in the mosh pit. You see what I'm saying?
But in theory, you can take legal action against the venue, because you can have the statement of they didn't have proper security measures in place to prevent your injury. I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because there's been a couple indie promoters that I've seen post that like their insurance is skyrocketing right now,
Oh, I'm sure.
and if they even attempt to, like their insurance has flat out said they could be sued if a fan comes there and contracts it and can prove that they contracted it at that venue, they can be sued.
That's crazy. Because to me, I mean, my personal opinion is
So I mean, if an indie type promotion can be at that kind of liability, you would think. But then again,
see, I think that's horseshit.
An indie promotion isn't going to be able to afford the lawyers that
right.
Vince can.
I think that's horseshit because personally, for me, I mean, I've decided to go there. I've decided to go somewhere and be around a ton of people while I know this pandemic's going on. So, you know, to me, that's my harm, my foul. But whatever, it is. It's the U.S. justice system. So, you know, there's a lawyer around every corner. Can't shake a tree without one falling out and suing you for it. So I'll start with this week's Raw. And I have to, this was what I was going to get to earlier when you brought up Raw. McIntyre. McIntyre is the most pro wrestling thing in wrestling right now. And the reason I say that is I like his Hogan style push that he's getting right now, where he's just heel, then a heel, then a new heel, then a new heel. I mean, granted, it's new wrestling. It's not old wrestling, so it's moving faster than it did back then. The programs are going quicker. But I like really the way
one thing I'm not understanding either. With the pandemic and everything, you've got a shortened roster. Why don't you do better builds? Why,
right.
Milk this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to blast through the people that you have available, and then you're going to be like,
I know there's I was going to say, I know there's a pay-per-view I know there's a pay-per-view every month, but you could very easily, let's use the Lashley feud as an example. You get, like you said, you could very easily have had, okay, Lashley attacks Drew, he's going to get a title shot. Then the first title shot's a screw job finish. Well, now next month, now do your tag team thing with MVP at the next, instead of it just being on Raw. It's like Russo. If you watch WCW Russo told 15 years worth of storylines in 5 months. Like, it was so fast. It was like if he would have been able to actually book, he could have had 15 years of a good run as a booker because, you know, he would tell 6 months worth of story in one episode of Nitro. And that's kind of how it feels sometimes. It's just, you can drag these things out. We're watching. And if you can keep us interested, we're going to watch, you know, get me hooked. But overall, I think they're doing a good job with him as champion.
And I think they're doing a good job with him. And I honestly think Randy and Edge have the most emotional investment story going.
Mm-hmm.
Because they both know how to tell a story. Like, honestly, I watched 5 weeks, I believe, of Raw today. Mm-hmm. And the most standout thing was that bastard statement Edge said about, when I get done with you, you're going to wish Cowboy Bob was shooting blanks. I was like, oh.
And there's not been one thing in that entire feud, other than some of the camera angles and stuff during the greatest wrestling match ever that we talked about. There's not been one thing in that feud that I've rolled my eyes at. You know, it's been very well done. They've taken an old school approach to storytelling. I just wanted to throw in here, back to what you were saying earlier. Brian McGraw commented, there are indie shows in West Virginia in the next month doing live shows. So, yikes. Maybe they don't draw well. Maybe 6 feet is possible. Maybe 10 or less is possible with those shows, Brian. Who knows? Okay. Back to Drew. Ziggler coming to Raw. They're going to have a match at Extreme Rules. At least there's history there. I mean, at least there's a story to be told. As many holes as there are in said story, at least there's a story to be told.
The sad thing is, it's Dolph. They have, like,
My
Well,
wife goes, he got, is that ramen hair? He got rid of his ramen hair, because that's what she always called him a few years ago. She doesn't know a lot of their names, so she just calls them by whatever that, whatever they look like. And she's like, is that ramen hair? He doesn't have his ramen hair anymore.
I mean, the best way that I use to describe what WWE has done with Ziggler through his tenure is a young teenager trying to learn how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. Just
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's gotten to the point, like, if you've watched it for years, you see Dolph, you're like, oh!
He's going to lose. Yeah, he's going to lose. And it's sad because he...
Even when he came out, and it's sad because that whole piece about what Drew said to him, and he mentioned that him and Bobby both, or I'm sorry, Robert both came to Raw. For one, I forgot Robert worked there, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I thought he got released.
And then the fact that Drew was like, so two of you for what, AJ? Was there a special going on? And the sad thing is, it was like a snarky thing to say, but the way they utilized both of those guys, it's pretty much the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I don't even want to talk about the Profits and the Raiders anymore. I'm tired of it, and I hate it, and it's stupid, and they're stupid, and the Viking Raiders have been ruined, and the Street Profits suck, and the whole thing sucks. So I don't even want to go into that. Now,
it gets even worse now, because now we have ninjas from where, what?
Yeah. Motorcycle ninjas, with the world's tallest ninja or whatever. I don't even know. That guy, I don't know if you noticed, but that guy was on the during the Taker documentary. He was one of the NXT students when Taker was with the NXT students. That tall guy. I don't know his name. I don't know his story, but anyway, yeah, it's stupid.
Ninja.
Yeah, big ninja, big tall ninja man. So the Edge, Orton, Flair, Big Show saga going on, Christian saga going on. That's some good TV. I like it all. It's been good. I mean, you've got a bunch of good, very talented veterans working together, and I don't know. I don't know what more we can say about it other than it's really good. I mean, I don't know what other comments you have on it, but I thought everything during this show involving those guys was good stuff. I mean, I enjoyed it. Raw's not terrible right now, really.
No.
SmackDown is worse than Thunder in '99. I hate SmackDown. The only two things I like, the only thing I like about SmackDown is Bray. I mean, you got AJ and Daniel Bryan having good matches and stuff, but overall, that show is fucking garbage. Anyway, we'll get to that.
I'm glad that you hold yourself back on these shows.
Yes, me too. I just
It
bottles up all week. It bottles up all week, and then anything on the Sasha Bailey Asuka story going on there? I don't know. The women's division, I've lost interest in it, I guess. I don't know. Ever since they started watering down Becky, I've lost interest in the women's division.
Watering down Becky, I don't really know if they watered her down, or I think it was more of an oversaturation. And then the sickening oversaturation of Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Who is going to leave for a little bit.
And the continued employment of the walking OSHA violation that is Nia Jax. How
she still has a job.
We know why.
Well, yeah, we do know why, but...
Which was like comical with that was like the only thing I found comical with the Charlotte-Nia interaction. How Nia threw up because her daddy's Flair. And she was like, oh, we're going to talk about family. I'm like... Hey, at least you both called the kettle black, I guess. So, at least you both understand why you got a job. That's good. I'm glad we've come to a mutual agreement on that.
If anybody's ever seen pictures of myself and my son That's what it looks like when Rey Mysterio is standing next to Dominic. Let's be honest.
I didn't get to finish it. That's where I was at when we started the show, so I got to finish that final segment from.
Essentially, Dominic is starting to get involved physically. Aleister Black got involved. Humberto Carrillo got involved at the end. I don't know. It's this. I guess the story's fine. I wish they were doing this with Rey and Dominic with somebody else. Maybe somebody that I think the story would work better if it was somebody that was that was known to be closer to Rey. If that makes sense, like with a friend, right? I know. I don't know. I don't know who's left.
There's nobody in that company that has that
the connection. Yeah.
I mean, the only way it would have worked would have been have it be if Vicky was still there and she was managing whoever did it. That'd be like the only way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just this incarnation of Seth doesn't do anything for me. So this is not, it's not that this is bad. It's just not working for me. I just don't think those two have good chemistry. I don't know. I just don't, there's something about it to me that's disjointed. I don't get it.
Could it be the ridiculous cross-eyed face that Seth made during the whole stair attack?
And yeah, that was bad.
that literally has messed it up for me the whole time. And now we're supposed to be all concerned about Rey's eye healing, and they've screwed up and have got too bright of lights on him now, and you can blatantly see his eye behind the mesh.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Like the first couple of segments, like they actually had like a thicker mesh.
Mm-hmm.
But then the week that Dominic showed up last week, whatever. It would be 2 weeks, I guess, since it's Sunday.
When they did the sit down promo at home.
Yeah, when Dominic actually arrived and attacked him from behind, you could see his eyes. Then I'm like, nope.
We can see that you can see.
I can see that you can see. I see you see.
So, all right, we'll roll on here. Unless you have anything else on Raw.
Not really. I mean,
it's better than it was a couple of months ago. I'll give it that.
I do enjoy the fact that AOP is apparently forever and always a pair. Since one of them's injured, we don't get either of them.
Right.
So now we're going to plug Austin Theory in place of two gigantic men because that works.
That works. He's available.
They're the ninjas.
NXT. I liked Grimes. I like this feud between Grimes and Priest. I know. Is it you or Aaron that doesn't like Cameron Grimes?
I want to say Aaron.
Okay, because somebody in this crew doesn't like Cameron Grimes, and I don't understand why. Everybody complains all the time about how WWE everybody looks the same, and everybody's they have the same. You know what I'm saying? This guy looks different. He's pudgy. He's furry. He looks like Dutch Mantel, like a young Dutch Mantel.
He looks indie.
Yes, and he has a great charisma. And I've always been a fan of Damian Priest, even though you would think he'd be the kind of guy that I don't like, but I really liked him in Ring of Honor, and I've been okay with what they've done with him so far in NXT.
Unfortunately, it's like I said with Priest, he reminds me of Corbin 2.0.
I just can't get on board with that. Corbin.
The overall gimmick and just style, it's like original Corbin.
I see what you're saying. I enjoy watching him wrestle more than
everything. No, I'm not taking that. I just mean like his
demeanor.
His demeanor, his appearance, even
his music,
his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
It's very original Baron-esque. And I'm just like, Not only that, but he's like a walking billboard for Warren Star clothing, and I'm just like, why don't y'all just do a partnership at this point?
Robert Stone is 2020's Jameson. There's a statement. He's a goof. He's a 2020 Jameson. He's just a goof who's on TV getting beat up by Rhea Ripley all the time. And
he can wrestle though.
I've never seen him wrestle. But that character to me, and I know it's not Jameson. But I was just saying, like, he's I don't know what point we're getting to with him.
Did you ever see Robbie E matches at all?
Was he in TNA?
Yeah.
Then no. Is that Robbie E?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I didn't even know that. I had no idea. I didn't know where this guy came from.
Yeah,
no.
That's Robbie E. It's amazing when you don't put it. It's amazing when you don't pompadour gel jersey show your hair.
Yeah,
and
no
actually
kidding.
Wear clothes.
Hey, yeah, no idea. Had no idea. This opens a whole new world for Robert Stone. Yeah,
that's why it kind of bugs me that they're doing Robert Stone, because I'm like, the dude could actually do a decent match. Why?
Yeah. Well, when did he go to so when did Robbie E show up in TNA? Would have been 04, 05?
I don't know.
Because I haven't watched it since. No, it wouldn't have been that.
The fact that you know who that is tells you something.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the name. I don't know if I've ever seen a Robbie E match, though, to be honest with you. If I do, I don't remember it. Because that company's never been on my radar. I do like Thatch's Thatch Can. I think that they've essentially said this guy is Stu Hart, and I love it.
Oh,
I think
Thatcher?
I think it's that Thatch's Thatch Can thing is great to me. I don't know. I love it. I think it's awesome. And I love how he like has the guy in the move and then he's like, I don't know. I think it's really fun. And it's not, it's not stupid. It's a tad comedic, but it's believable. Granted, the way they shoot everything now is cinematic, but that is what it is.
I don't really know if it's almost comedic as much as it's just him being an arrogant, violent prick.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm cool with that too. I mean, that's
so arrogant, violent. It almost to us, it borders on comedic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, oh my god, you're so arrogant and funny.
Well, and that's why I say it's a Stu Hart gimmick, because you think back to Brett and Owen and them talking about the dungeon and in the Wrestling with Shadows documentary, and just Stu took so much pleasure out of just taking a guy and stretching him, and that's what I think I might be wrong, but I think that's what the inspiration for this gimmick is it's a Stu Hart gimmick essentially. He should even like salivate, he puts somebody in a submission hold, just I'm gonna stretch you a little bit here, put my thumb on your ear. El Hijo de Fantasmo's new name is stupid. Santos Escobar. That's a stupid name.
It sounds like I'm not trying to be that guy, but it sounds like every cartel drug dealer in every movie ever. Yes.
It's like I know they have a name grab bag. They just pull a name out of a hat. They put two words to get Carrion Cross, Carrion. So it's not like they're like batting 1,000 in the name department anyway. But
it just cracks me up that DJZ looks so professional in a suit now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Joaquin Wilde.
Joaquin.
You talk about that, his name. What about that one?
But I like the little group. I like the little faction, the story. I mean, even though that story was predictable, from the very beginning with the mask guys, it's like, oh, this is going to be a heel turn. I mean, in wrestling back in the day, you kind of saw it coming a lot of the time. It's not, everything doesn't have to be a swerve, bro. So I mean, I'm enjoying it. I think it's a good story they're telling with him and Maverick. Even though the Maverick thing still, like you and I both are pissed off about that. It's bullshit. But can't blame the guys. You know, they're just doing what they're told to do, and they could have some good matches with each other. So we'll see where that goes.
Which also, jump back to Raw real quick, since you brought that up, it reminded me. That Liv Tyler Ruby Riott segment. I don't know if they showed that on the.
Nope, didn't see it.
Liv was walking in the back area after
Wait,
she lost
you said Liv Tyler and got my hopes up.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, okay.
And Ruby Riott. But Liv was walking in the back after her match, and Ruby walked up to her, and she was like, "Not right now," and was all like pouting, and Ruby kept trying to talk to her, and she just said no and walked off, and Ruby just stood there and was like, and granted, came out last week that Logan said that she's going to step away from wrestling.
Yeah.
But she was another one that they were lobbying to get rehired as soon as it happened. So it almost wouldn't surprise me at this point, just because that's who they are now.
Yeah.
If the Riot Squad's going to come back and Sarah's going to be a surprise return.
We just do whatever we want to do now, and damn anybody's feelings, damn anybody's immune system.
We're sorry that you thought you weren't going to be able to survive with no income. We're just kidding with you. Just joshing. Come on back.
Your immune system means nothing to us. Your feelings feel nothing to us.
We just wanted to rib you a little bit, make you think you didn't have income.
This I don't know. This Undisputed Era stuff is the first stuff they've done that I haven't. I don't know. It's kind of silly.
I'm already burnt out on the trunk thing.
Yeah, it's just goofy. And I'm not saying that it's something that makes me want to turn the TV off. And hopefully, it's just what they do with this Loomis feud. And I like him. I like everybody involved in it. It's just the whole thing's goofy. You know, when they did the thing where Roddy could see him, but they couldn't, but we could see him too. It's.
At least they showed it though, because then it showed like Dexter is actually ducking to like actually screw with him.
Right.
So, I mean, at least they didn't try to make it like Ultimate Warrior Hogan mirror moment.
Yeah, true. Or the Mr. Wonderful. What was that guy's name with the funny fro thing? Ivy. You don't remember that? Mr. Wonderful with that psychic guy that had the white fro? Oh, let me find a picture. I got to find a picture now. Gary Spivey. I'm going to show you and everybody. But anyway, while I'm looking for that shit, because I'm off on a tangent now about that.
I'm not a fan of the winner take all thing.
I am also not a fan. I'm not a winner. I'm not a fan of that either. I am also not a fan of the Duke and Duchess. What is it? Doom? Is that what Morrow called Cross and Scarlet?
I honestly don't know.
I hate stupid. Nick, don't give them a stupid nickname like that. The Duke and Duchess of something. Here, look at this guy.
He looks like an extra from Spaceballs.
You don't remember that guy interacting with Paul Orndorff on WCW? It was like 95. Like Paul Orndorff was having a crisis of conscience, and he had low self-esteem going on. Oh man, I have to send you some clips then, because it's fucking terrible. it's a good terrible though, but it's terrible. But yeah, I don't like the winner take all thing either, and I'm afraid.
And I'm also an unpopular opinion guy. I'm not a big Keith Lee fan.
I like him. And I like him, but I don't think he's ready to be the champion. But
the thing is, the way they build him and everything else, I don't understand and comprehend how we're supposed to be taking all these matches with any grain of believability anymore, considering, him and Dijakovic literally pretty much killed themselves 43 times in one match.
I know you contested that the whole time, and I was the opposite guy. I was just going.
I'm supposed to believe that Johnny Gargano or Adam Cole have a snowball's chance in the seventh pit of hell against a guy that died 48 times in a match and just kept going.
Right. And I see what you're saying. I totally see what you're saying. Now, question...
They've over-monstered him, and you can't over-monster someone and expect him to be a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to get the strap? Because, I mean, when it's mid-card champion versus world champion, 99.9% of the time it goes with mid-card champion beating the world champion, i.e. Hogan and Warrior. Who else? What other? There was another match. There was another one of those that I was thinking of while I was watching that, but I can't remember now.
I'm not sure.
Because that leads me to my next question that I was going to ask is, do you think in August when his contract's up, he's going to go be with his girlfriend in another company?
Who, Adam?
Yeah. I hope not. I don't want him to go to AEW. I want him to stay, and I don't want him to go to the main roster either. I just want him to stay in NXT where Triple H knows how to use him.
Because if he does lose, they'll put him on Raw or SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's like
Vince and Pritchard aren't going to know what the hell to do with someone his size.
Because I kind of feel the same way about Adam Cole that I did when they took Finn Balor to the main roster. I was like, Triple H knows how to use this guy. Vince will not, and I was right. And look what happened with Balor. He's back to where somebody knows how to use him again. But yeah, and damaged in the process. Let's be honest. And that's what I fear with Adam Cole. And I don't want him to go to AEW because I don't want him to play footsie with Orange Cassidy on TV because he's one of the best in the business and he's the future of the business and he should stay where he's at until Vince dies and Triple H is in charge. Adam Cole should just stay where he is and wait his turn to be the fucking man in the business because that's where he's headed. But yeah, I don't know. Like this whole thing kind of came up, and I didn't see this coming. And because again, it's the mid card champion challenging the world champion. I feel like Adam Cole is going to lose the title, and I don't want him to, even though I like Keith Lee.
Or is it going to be a screw finish?
Or could be, or it could be he wins that championship, and then he does the DX thing and hands it to Roddy or something. Like Sean did with.
That's honestly what I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think
I'm not a big
fan
of the title handoff stories either. But me being not a Keith Lee fan, it's the best of any possible evil that I could choose.
It's your choice. It's your choice. The choice of your generation. But yeah, I think we're in agreement there. I would prefer and I'm different than you. I know you aren't a fan, so you would prefer Keith Lee as champion. I just don't think he's ready to be, like, maybe a couple of years from now. And I think he would be better off on the main roster. He would be a guy that would go up from NXT and get treated properly. I mean, Vince McMahon's going to look at that guy and go, "That's a Brock opponent right there." Hence, he's going to get his push. He's going to get treated properly. That's what surprised me about Lashley was the way they treated Lashley for so long. Like you would think Lashley would be a guy that Vince would want in the, you know what I mean? Like he would take care of that guy, but maybe he thinks he's too old now. I don't know. But I think that was it for NXT.
And by the way, you can't stand the whole Duke and Duchess of Doom thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Duke and.
If I have to hear Team Yemitless one more time.
Yeah, that is annoying. You're absolutely right. That's annoying.
But then again, I'm also getting to the point where I'm really wondering why we have to keep putting couples together.
Yeah. Makes no sense. Does nothing for anybody, especially us viewers.
I mean, this is going to be like so backhanded, Johnny and Candice, in my opinion, pull it off. But it could also be, I guess, because they've established that they were together the second they walked in the door.
Right. Yeah.
Keith and Mia started dating, so they're like, you shall now be partners on screen.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And I'll be honest. And you brought the Gargano thing up, and this was something that I remember I had written down when they were doing the dinners with the Garganos segments, and I never mentioned on the show. I don't know why. Probably just because we have a lot of voices sometimes, and you don't get to share everything you want to share. But those two together, to me, are the best heel couple since Triple H and Stephanie. Since like the original, because the original Triple H Stephanie, I mean, let's be honest, the original combination of those two with the Helmsley era and all that was.
I honestly think it's better because with the Hunter stuff, you had the whole setting in a position of power angle to play with.
Mm-hmm.
They're making it work, and they don't have that seat of power trump card. So to me, they're playing it better.
And well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you got a point. I think, yeah. I mean, they're gold to me. Another talent, two talents that I don't. Gargano.
Like, honestly, I didn't think Candice could pull off being a bitch, but I was like, oh,
look at that. She must be a natural. She must be a natural bitch. I don't want to talk a lot about SmackDown because it makes me want to vomit in my face, my own face.
We're still on Wednesday and you skipped AEW.
No, I know. I'm going back to AEW.
Oh, God.
I have two thoughts on SmackDown, and then I'm moving on from it because it sucks. And they're both bad. And unfortunately, one of them involves Bray Wyatt because apparently I'm going to get a fucking swamp match now. Because that's what that feels like that's going to. And oh good, I want another movie. But also, I hope you're not right about The Undertaker. And I better not see Undertaker and Baron Corbin. And if they're not going to have Undertaker and Baron Corbin, he needs to... Baron Corbin should not even be in the same arena as The Undertaker. He shouldn't even be in the same bathroom as The Undertaker. Let alone cutting promos on him.
Yeah, I thought that was tactless and everything else, but then I also sat back. What other viable heel is there on SmackDown that could have played the douchebag part? Not AJ, because AJ ain't got a leg to stand on. He got buried.
Right.
Seriously, as much as you can't stand him,
I'd take Mojo Rawley over Baron Corbin. I know, I was just saying it to be a douche.
No, I mean, but you know what I mean? Though, like validity to cut that kind of promo. Who else is there?
And if I will say this, if they were, because I can complain about him all I want. Obviously, somebody likes him and he's going to be on TV, and that's whatever. It is what it is. But
you should be happy he's not pleased and doesn't think that Riddle deserves a spot. Did you see that statement?
Yes.
He should need to have at least 5 enhancement matches before he gets anything. And I'm thinking, in a way, part of me was like, is he saying this because he's in character saying it? Or is it his nice way of saying you should give him some filler matches due to the shit that's going on in case we get involved in a storyline and he winds up getting fired?
Right. But he, I mean, here's my thing. I am okay, because again, I've resigned myself, just like with Kenny Omega, I've resigned myself to the fact that Baron Corbin was conceived, and is alive and is on TV. It is what it is. And if they were using this, because they used it to build into the Jeff Hardy match, if they were using that just as a way to get heel heat on him, okay, fine. But if I'm gonna have to suffer through the fact that they let Kurt Angle have his last match with Baron Corbin. If they gave Baron Corbin Kurt Angle's last match, I had to suffer through that. And if they give Baron Corbin Undertaker's last match, I will be so angry.
Vince loves Corbin.
I don't get it. He's boring. He's terrible in the ring.
Apparently is also on this adamant kick that Baron Corbin is what women find stupidly attractive. I don't know.
A big, tall douchebag that looks like the bartender at Applebee's wearing a pelt. That's the new Studley man. I don't understand. I hate that fucking guy. The best thing.
I appreciate him because he utilizes and does things right, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I told you before, like the whole how you even brought up the Applebee's thing, that originally was supposed to be like a one-off thing. And when people started going ape shit about it and like healing on him on social media, he seen it and was like, "Oh, all right, welcome to my new ring gear." Like he literally went to the best look just because he knew it pissed people off.
Which I'll be honest, makes him a smart sports entertainer. I understand.
That's why I enjoy him.
Mm-hmm.
And like the other thing that bugs me, I think his finishers are backwards. I think that the Deep Six looks so much better of a finisher than the End of Days.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it is. It looks more devastating.
More impact.
Yeah, it looks more devastating.
And that kind of move you can do on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If
It's
they're
like
running at you, if they're running at him, boom, they're on momentum. He can do it to anybody.
It is one of those perfect finishers like the RKO, where you can, like you said, anybody, anytime, and it doesn't matter their size, it doesn't matter their speed, and it doesn't matter where they're at in the ring. It doesn't matter where it's at in the match. It can come out of nowhere. So yeah, I see what you're saying for sure there. The best thing, what I want to say is the best time, or I don't want to say I enjoyed him because that would make me have to go outside and run in front of a truck. But the most, I guess the time he annoyed me the least, because I liked her as a heel, is I liked when he was paired up with Lacey Evans. They fit to me. I love her as a heel. I love her as a heel. She's not exactly the greatest wrestler, but as a personality, as a heel,
green as shit.
Yeah, true. But like I went to Aaron and I went to a house show in Fort Wayne when her and Becky were feuding with Seth and her and Corbin were feuding with Seth and Becky. She had, and that's the best way for those of you that don't go to a lot of house shows. The way to see who your really good performers are is to go to a house show, because they don't have a lot of the constraints that they normally have, and they can just interact with the crowd.
And
the shit's not written.
There's no camera cuts to block the oopses.
Yes, and the shit's not written for them, and they just have the match. And man, that chick is an awesome heel. Like, for all the shows I've gone to over the years, and you have too, I know you have too, being observers of pro wrestlers, live in person, she oozes heel heat. She is so good. I have no idea. She is so miscast as a babyface.
She's growing on me as a face, though.
Really? I don't know. She just, to me, she's a heel.
Because you're already going into SmackDown with a negative outlook. So
you're right.
I mean, I think it'll help her in the long run. I see her going back to heel, but I actually think this is going to be good for her because it's going to get crowd support. And think about it, when you're a face, people don't notice when you botch as much.
Right.
So have her be a face, strengthen up her in-ring abilities, strengthen up her, her bell to bell, and then switch her heel again and then she'll be experienced. She won't be as botch-tastic, and that's going to take. Because think about it, what was one of the main things people bitched about her when she was a heel?
Oh yeah, constant botches. Yeah.
Let her be a face, get the crowd behind her, let her improve herself in the ring, and then when you make her heel again, she's going to be a true heel, not a, oh, we're booing you because you keep fucking up in the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a good play, and she's honestly starting to grow on me just because, I don't know.
She is getting better in the ring, too.
Mm-hmm.
She really is. Like, she almost reminds me of Trish. Remember when Trish first started? She was awful.
Ooh.
Oof.
They made her a face.
Yes. And then, I mean, she
and
became...
by the time she was a heel again, she was better in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See where I'm going now?
Yarp. Well, and usually because your heels are your better workers, so if you work as a babyface with a heel, you're going to learn. So I said, no, I totally see your point. Totally see your point. I just want her to be a heel. So now we'll move to AEW in our last 10 minutes here. Like I said, this show was very tone deaf to COVID. Where's Wardlow and Luchasaurus had a cool lumberjack match. I liked the match. They're two good big man wrestlers, but it wasn't much social distancing going on in that fucking match. I'll tell you that. I don't know. It just like, I don't know if you see what I'm saying, but it makes it, you know, they just look so tone deaf to it. Like, wrestling's just going to ignore it. Every other sport's closed. Every other sport might come back with an empty arena with only so many people on the field. But in pro wrestling, we just love disease and, you know, treating our employees like circus freaks. Maybe Bret Hart was right. They just ride the horse till it dies and then send it to the glue factory. I mean, you know, he sounded bitter at the time, but you watch it now and you're like, you know what? Maybe he's fucking right. But anyway, I got out of soapbox. What'd you think of that lumberjack match?
I didn't mind it. Fucking Marco stunt.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And like Luchasaurus, this is gonna sound really weird. I almost wish, comments don't hate me, Keith Lee should learn some more things from Luchasaurus. He can do flippy big shit, but he does it very sparingly.
Right.
Because he doesn't need to. Because he's a gigantic freaking person.
I like that description. He's a gigantic freaking person.
But it's, I'm sorry, like you have your soapbox, I have mine. I can't stand gigantic dudes doing flippy shit. Because to me, it shits on all the smaller guys.
Right.
Because like I've said before, if I see Keith Lee or Luchasaurus doing all this lucha flippy shit during their match, and then Lucha Bros or anybody like that, or Sabian comes out, or Cameron Grimes or anyone like that, and they're doing it, I would fucking hope so.
It seems less effective.
You would do a backflip.
Right.
I would hope the little electric leaf car would be able to do one.
I fast forwarded through Sheeta and Velvet Ice Cream because I don't care. I don't like the AEW women's division, so I just don't watch it. I have gotten to this point where I know we're supposed to. I know it's my whole point of this show for me to review modern sports entertainment, but I do not like. I fast forward through things I don't like now because I don't have time in my life for things I don't like, and I don't like their women's division. Other than Britt, I don't like their women's division. So I just.
And that reminds me, is Swole's man still employed with Vince?
Who's Swole's man?
Oh, you didn't know? It's Cedric Alexander.
No, I didn't, and I don't fucking know because he hasn't been on TV in months. Yeah, I don't think he's been on. Was he at WrestleMania?
I don't remember. The last I seen him, he was doing that tag team with Ricochet.
Yeah, that was before WrestleMania. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's still.
Big Swole and Cedric are a couple.
I did not know that. At least he's not a couple with Big Swole from Master P's group, because that would be weird. I thought the press conference with Cody and Jake Hager was pretty well done. And did you notice they had Matt Brock from PWI ask a question? I thought that was a fun little throwback because Matt Brock never existed to begin with. Matt Brock was just Bill Apter being a heel. I thought that was great. I thought that was really cool. They were like, Matt Brock from PWI? It popped me because I read the shit out of that magazine when I was a kid, and I thought Matt Brock was a prick, and he never even existed.
The only thing that bugged me about that was why did Dustin have to paint his face with a suit on?
Mm.
You've already got your brother distracting everyone with his neck monstrosity above the collar of the suit. Don't paint your face up and ruin your suit.
Right. Arn's promo was cool. I liked watching Arn have a little spitfire to him. Nothing's better than a good. I always loved Arn's promos because Arn was the guy that would. Well, yes, he was the guy that would talk about kicking your ass, but he was talking to you like he was your teacher. Like he wasn't mean, he wasn't yelling. You know, Flair would come in and yell and scream and woo.
Dad.
Yeah, and Arn would be like, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot. You know, he didn't and he did that here. I thought this was a well done segment. I don't have any complaint. Excuse me, don't have any complaints about it. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. That's what I wrote down. I don't know where they're going with this. Like that whole thing they did a couple of weeks ago where he had him get in his car and I don't like Joey Janela anyway. I actually don't mind Sonny Kiss.
Thing was retarded.
Yes, it was. It was stupid.
Like, my brain hurt watching it. Like I would rather watch Peter Jackson director's cut of Boneyard match before I see another gas station fight.
Oofa. Yeah, that was stupid.
I mean, it could be worse. I could say a Peter Jackson director's cut of Stadium Stampede.
I don't know. We're getting pretty equal. No, you're right. Stadium Stampede. Stadium Stampede was much more goofy. At least the credit I'll give to the Boneyard match is that it was serious. You know, like I mean, there was a lot of fake shit in there, but at least it was serious and it felt like a fight. It wasn't like the Stadium Stampede or the Money in the Bank match that just felt like Benny Hill. But anyway,
it's even worse at a gas station.
So, can we all agree that neither WWE nor AEW know how to use Brody Lee? Because Brody Lee is just in the goofy mid-card, just like he was in the WWE, and they don't know how to use him either. Because all of what he's doing feels goofy mid-card to me. He doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like a main eventer. He feels like a goofy mid-carder to me in AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah. You almost look like you were going to disagree with me, but it's like
I'm kind of curious.
He should be by himself. He shouldn't be in this. They shouldn't have put him with Dark Order to begin with.
Like I said before, he should have been the one with Jake.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even mean this because of his appearance, but you could literally make Brody Lee Bruiser Brody. Not exactly, but do you see what I'm saying? Like he could be that guy that when he comes out on the show, people gasp, you know, and the things that he does because he has the ability to do it because I've seen him do it before he went to WWE. That guy is badass, and no company he's been in since the Indies has ever known how to use him. And the Indies knew how to use him because in the Indies you present yourself pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel it sucks to me because I really wanted more from him in AEW. I was hopeful that he'd get out from under that WWE thing and be able to. But this whole thing,
we went in with a very lackluster thought process as soon as he came out as Dark Order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, you essentially walked him in and this. Let me just rub some stank all over you. Go out there now. Like you just rubbed some stank on him, and you just ruined him from the beginning. So I'm hoping that in the future he gets away from that, and it doesn't hinder him too much, and we can see what he can really do. But right now, I'm not happy with what's going on with him. And SCU and FTR had a good match, obviously. Two of the best tag teams in the world. The FTR promo was good. I really liked the FTR promo because I like the fact that they're just letting them be them, and whether they shit on somebody or not. Although I think it's kind of, I don't know. I'm like, ugh. They're putting the best tag team in the world with like that, giving them a union with the Bucks. But maybe that could be a good story leading into the feud, you know. And it's cool that the Lucha Brothers are back.
Yeah.
And although the Butcher and Blade continue to impress, like I said last week, those guys are really growing on me. Good promo this week. I liked the little truck thing. None of this was stupid. You know what I mean? Like none of this was stupid. It all made sense. Even the Bucks' involvement, and I thought it was a good segment.
I'm biased because I like FTR, so
same.
And honestly, with the Bucks thing that they're doing, it's almost like they're not really doing like a union. They're doing a painted back into a corner and forced union. So it's not bothering me that much.
And I think I'll be honest with you. I think that FTR agreeing probably to work a program with, because those guys seem very independent minded. Any interviews I've read with them outside of WWE or their interview they just did with Cornette recently, or anything they've said since they've left WWE about as far as going to AEW, because I don't think they've even officially signed a contract yet. Still,
Not sure.
They're very independent minded. They know who they are. They know what they want to do now that they don't have the cuffs on. So whatever they've agreed to do with the Bucks, I think that they're probably going to call the match. And I think that when they have a match, because the Bucks have the...
For the love of God, they're going to call the match?
Yes. The Bucks have the ability to work well with a team that is a good team that won't just let them be spot monkeys. I never say... I don't know. They're not the worst. My thing about the Bucks is I don't think they're terrible. I just think they're overrated.
I think their main problem is they are their biggest fans.
Yes. Because they're not a shitty team. You know, they're overrated to me. Like I've never thought they were great. I think they're good, pretty much. When they're in there with a team that they can have a decent wrestling match with instead of a spot fest, essentially. Because much to what you said,
like backyard guys that got like fan obsessed with the Hardy Boys and said we can do that.
Although the Hardy Boys learned how to be wrestlers too. I think that they could have a good match with FTR, and I'm actually looking forward to it. Cage and Taz, the Taz promo. I know they had to say it. You know, they had to do because Moxley couldn't be there. But I did like the fact that Taz kind of called him out and said a bullshit excuse, and I mean it puts heel heat on. This was a good show. AEW was a good show. I realized
though, when he was in Impact, I thought he was a lot bigger. Cage isn't that tall. Like, I noticed it when him and Mox did the face-to-face, and Mox, I think, was actually, like, a little bit taller than him. I'm like... he looked like an Impact, and now he's just like, I'm a little big guy.
You call me Stucky Brian Cage. All right, and we've gone over an hour, and I have to pee, so we'll go through this quickly. Cassidy and Jericho.
I know you popped at Jericho's statement, so go ahead.
Jericho cut the promo on Orange Cassidy that I've been waiting for somebody to cut on Orange Cassidy since Orange Cassidy was born. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I watched it and as soon as Jericho was like, "You tried to do that stupid little shin kick crap with me," I'm like, "Oh God, Nate just beat himself." It was like, all the negative shit Nate said about Jericho last week, he just erased it all with that statement right there.
If okay, I'm going to say this right now on the record, on the show. If what I'm hoping happens here is that what they're doing with the feud, because I didn't like when they initially started the feud with Cassidy and Jericho. I was not a fan. I thought this was below Jericho's pay grade. If the point of this is to finally show me the guy that hates Orange Cassidy, if he goes into this match with Jericho and impresses and lets something come out that isn't, because I don't think Jericho's going to give him his, he might. Jericho likes comedy. I don't know. With Chris, I can never tell. But I don't see Jericho.
I definitely don't see the shin kicks happening.
No, and the silly sells, I guess, is what I'll say. The silly sells for some of the silly moves. But if they go into the match and Cassidy, and this is the time where we're going to see Orange Cassidy actually be a wrestler, and he does well, I'll come out here next week. Or no, they're in the 2 weeks from now show, aren't they?
I think.
I'll come out here in the 2 weeks from now show and say, all right, okay, I still don't like him, but he's not a fucking turd. You know, maybe the guy's got some talent. So that's what I'm hoping happens. For any parting words, because I really do have to pee and we really do have to go. Usually it's easier because there's like 3 or 4 of us, so I can just sign out, go pee, and come. But when there's 2 of us, I'm like, by the end, I'm like doing the pee dance in my chair.
Oh, trust me, I am too. I just hide it better. Just my usual. Support what you like, love what you love, and don't be a dick.
Yes, don't be a dick. Stop being a dick. All right, Chris, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. And we appreciate all of you for joining us as well. On That's
week, everybody.
Not Wrestling. Yes, have a great week. We'll see you next week for another